In the wake of draconian lockdowns and soaring crime rates, blue states are seeing a mass exodus as Americans flock to economically thriving red states. Here to discuss is Dr. Paul Shabbat, President and CEO of ConservativeMove.com and Lieutenant Commander of the United States Navy Reserves. Sir, welcome to the Chris Salcedo Show, and thanks for the service to the country as well. Your company helps conservatives find areas to live that reflect their values. What are the top 3 destinations for conservatives who value freedom and prosperity?
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me. You and I both lived in California, once red state of Reagan and Nixon. We saw what Democrats have done to that state and many others over our generation. It's a shame. Many folks are moving out of blue states to red states, and they're moving primarily to places like Texas, Florida, Tennessee, Idaho, South Carolina, the breadbasket area of our great country, and places beyond. And it's not just families now, Chris. I'm also retired law enforcement. You're seeing police officers move out of radical cities like New York, LA, San Francisco, moving also looking for work. It's quite fascinating. We moved to Texas 4 years ago, wife and 4 kids, left California, our native home, landed here, and then realized so many people move for the same reasons that we did. We want to be left alone. We love freedom. We support the police. And so, here we are 4 years later operating in 40 states and having genuine conversations with American middle-class families and small businesses that are vacating blue states.
How does South Dakota look from your service? Because Kristi Noem, a couple of weeks ago, she was talking about how she has an economic boom that is outpacing every state in the union. She says the closest state to her economic boom on a percentage basis is the state of Texas. So how is South Dakota faring?
South Dakota's doing great. Great governor there. God bless her. Love her. We on our website have webinars. So we just did a webinar for South Dakota with our lead agent talking about that great state. The challenge right now across the country is availability and affordability of housing. As you know, the Chinese are buying up a lot of property throughout this country. They're dumping a lot of money in. Now, that's not necessarily happening in places like South Dakota to the degree we're seeing it in other states. But what we're hoping is that middle-class families can find these places to move and where they can raise a family and not have to worry about anti-police rhetoric, critical race theory in their school districts, and just be left alone to live the American dream. South Dakota is definitely a great state for that and a huge amount of interest. You got pictures of U-Haul up right now. It's fascinating. If you look at the price of how much it costs to move out of these blue states, it's high because everybody's leaving that can. And so this flood of people that are moving, Chris, people unfortunately believe that in Texas, those that are moving here are going to turn, say, Texas blue. That's not the case. When we look at the exit polling from 2018 between Beto O'Rourke and Ted Cruz, by a 60-40 split, more of those that moved to Texas are voting Republican. The people coming to these states love this country, and not only are they voting Republican, but they're getting engaged at the grassroots level to tell their story and to wake up the local Republican parties that may have been asleep at the switch for a bit.
Yeah, no kidding. And you know what? They just like those who flee Castro's island paradise and they become conservatives once they reach Florida, you escape a left-wing state, then you don't want to see that ever happen again where you live. Now, tell us the top 3 states who are losing citizens because they're run by a bunch of left-wing extremists.
Yeah, without a doubt, California is at the top by far. New York is also not far behind. But then you've got this other sort of bubble city region where you have parts of New Jersey, within Illinois, around Chicago and Cook County, all around Seattle, all around Portland is where they are vacating out. Now, of course, there's a spattering across many states. But those states, not only are they losing people, Chris, they're losing congressional seats because they're losing people. And if they continue the slow bleed, their representation is going to continue to decline. And I think that's also a big story to discuss across America, is why people are leaving and why these red states are picking up House seats.
No, I can think of no more poetic justice than to have these left-wing states lose their representation as they continue to harm their people. And like I said at the top, only folks who like to spread misery stick around in these states. Mr. Shabbat, I appreciate your service to the country and appreciate your service as well. We'll talk again, sir. When we come back, did world leaders do anything to confront our most serious threat?